Hey, buddy boys and girls, what's going on? Lee Sanders here, checking out an all new RCWR show, Tuesday night, July the 17th, 2018. How the hell y'all been, man? Oh, man, what a weird last week I had, but this week's going off to a good start, I must say. Come on, come on. This is a cool edition of the RCWR show that we're going to be doing, as it is a Q&A edition. So if you have a question you want me to tackle, it can be wrestling, it could be non-wrestling related, something I could definitely maybe spend a couple of minutes talking about. Feel free to definitely post. Make sure you put that hard question mark at the end of it, so I know it's just not a comment or whatever. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this. It should be decently fun. I think we'll also sprinkle in a couple of headlines, some things that I think are a little bit noteworthy, kind of get you all talking and reminiscing a little bit. Yeah. So, man, Lord have mercy. Where do we want to begin? As always, and I gotta tell you guys once again, man, I don't like coming on here and saying, Facebook, you guys get no love. But once again, for the consecutive week in a row, a second week in a row, Facebook gets no love because rebooted the laptop. Every other platform I'm trying to be live on right now as we speak, we're working. By the way, we're live on YouTube, live on Spreaker, also streaming live via the RCWR Show app. You know, that app is available for free in the Google Play Store. I can't stress that enough. And I definitely need to, without going overkill, spending several minutes, talking about it. The greatest thing that you guys can do in the ultimate sign of support for the RCWR show, especially if you guys love checking out the live streams and then you pick you on back and you try to maybe pick it up on the downloads, try to listen to how everything's edited afterwards, or maybe there's just previous episodes that you want to check out. I can't stress it enough. One of the ways that you can definitely represent is by going into the Google Play Store and downloading the app for free. I have been seeing the Google app come down just a little bit in the past couple of months as far as the ways people are accessing the shows. And at one point, I was fine with it because at one point that app actually had came in third place. And I was actually really cool with that. But the latest statistics that I saw, and usually I like to check in, see how things are doing every 3 months. And the latest results I had saw, the app is now, I want to say maybe in fifth. Yeah, I want to say fifth place, or maybe it's at number 6. But that's a little bit, for me, that's just much too low. I want to see that at least be in the top 3. So if we get some movement, big movement going in that direction, I definitely would appreciate that. Also, while we were away, something really cool that had came about since last we were with you guys. I see that the RCWR show has moved up a couple of ranks in the category of wrestling on the Spreaker.com website. So that's pretty awesome. At one point, usually we stayed in the top 10. I mean, at one point for the longest, we held on to, I think, the number 7 or number 6 position. Now, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe we have now slided into the number 5 position. So that's some really good progress as well. And then when you see who all we are keeping company with in those top 5, and we're holding on to the number 5 spot, I think that's really awesome company that we're in. So that's badass. So I appreciate that. I mean, you guys got to pat yourselves on the back for that. So, I mean, however you're checking out the show, but I do hope that mostly you show the ultimate support and you listen to the show and all of that via the app, especially on demand, on the downloads, because I came out of my pocket for that app. Remember, I polled you guys, in case you forgot. I polled you guys, God, last year, and I had asked you guys, hey, I'm thinking about launching an app. If I were to launch the app, would you guys, check out the shows? Where you guys said, yeah, Lee, we would. Go ahead. And, that's how the app got launched eventually. So for those of you that's accessing the shows via the app, keep on doing it. And I saw there was a couple of reviews that was left via the app. Appreciate that. If you are checking out the app and everything's been running pretty smoothly for you, comment, man. Honestly, the more people that comment, review the app, all that, the more that it can definitely be suggested to people, right? So, yeah, check all that good stuff out. So, man, I tell you what, weird week I had last week. Okay, so if you're not following me on social media, and I'll get into the shameless plugging later. For years, I have been in a position where every time I turned around and I wanted to go see the dentist, I never was able to go see the dentist. And when it comes right down to it, I just did not have the money to go to the dentist. There was actually, sadly, a poor number of jobs that I had, with the exception of maybe a couple, but sadly, I didn't stay at those respected employers long enough to reap in the benefits as far as dental and all that goes, dental coverage and all that. But sadly, over the years, I just have not been in a good position where I could go to the dentist. So you rewind it back even further. Now, I take a lot of the blame pretty much 18 on, right? But up until I was 18, my parents were supposed to be responsible for making sure that, hey, this is how often you're supposed to go to the dentist, blah, 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 blah. And I know this is going to sound really, really bad, right? And some of you guys are going to be like, ew, Lee, you just got a nasty mouth, man. No, but like my parents, as far as I can recall, maybe only two times. And I'm quite sure, at least probably my mom will say, that's bullshit, Lee. But I swear to you guys, at least maybe two times, as far as I know, up until 18, my mom maybe took me to the dentist twice. That's not good because you're supposed to be seeing the dentist, like every year or whatever. And the breakdown, you get the x-rays every couple of years, make sure everything is going okay, right? All right. So since me and the missus have been together, one thing that she had, said to me, it's about time for you to go to the dentist. I was like, yeah, you think so? And she goes, yeah, you got some built up tartar that's going on in the teeth there, man. It's about time. Yeah, well, not in the teeth, on the teeth. She goes, it's time for you to, really get that checked out. I said, well, if I can just get myself in the right position, I'll gladly go. He's like, she's the expert. She's been in the health field for many, many years to many different degrees. She's still involved in the healthcare field, but she knows the signs of tartar and bad teeth and all that when she sees it. So you fast forward, and finally, just the heavens just said, Lee, here's an opportunity. Take it, brother. Take it. So my girl's job, pretty much they had to hook up. They hooked me up, and I was able to go there for a free cleaning. I got an exam, got some x-rays, all that good stuff. And I tell you what, man, I have not been to a dentist since I was a little kid. I was petrified then. And I can't tell you, last week I was scared shitless because, right? And my girl is trying to just coach me the entire way. She's going, you've got nothing to worry about. Everything is going to be so cool. You just wait and see. It's not as bad as you think. And I'm saying to myself, this is easy for you to say. You've gone many more times than I have. And, for me, it sounds really funny now, but I remember visually traumatic experiences as a kid. Anybody remember Steve Martin as the dentist in Little Shop of Horror? And remember how he was operating on Bill Murray's teeth and he just burst into that bad boy. He had the Elvis Presley leather jacket on and the licorice leather pants, and he was just singing. Then he was just breaking into that bad boy and he was singing, I'll be your dentist. And he was just say, ah. He was like, ah, say, ah, ah, say, ah, ah, now spit. And I'm just petrified at that. And then Bill Murray's got like this weird ass mechanical freaking, the piece that's in his mouth, it looks like some shit you see in the Saw movies or something in Hostile or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going. And then what really sealed the deal for me, I know a lot of you guys probably have seen this movie, especially if you love those C-rated, low budget films. You go, I can't believe this is made, but what the hell? You keep watching it because something about it you really, really like, even though it's cheesy as hell. Does anybody remember my man Corbin Burson in The Dentist? That was something that came out mid to late 90s. And for those of you that don't know anything about The Dentist, basically, this guy plays this dentist by the name of Dr. Allen. He's like this respected and successful dentist. And like, he's very respected, highly regarded. And like this guy, at least in the first movie, from what I remember, he suspects that his wife is cheating on him, and eventually he finds out. And like the way he goes about extracting revenge, it's just basically, I'm gonna fuck with your teeth, and he just basically kills his opponents. Right? Go watch that 1996, The Dentist. Right? Everybody will tell you that saw that movie. The first Dentist, scary as hell, especially if you haven't been to the dentist in years. But that was just like, okay, I'm not going. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not going. And then when part 2 came out, I won't spoil it for you, but somehow he's able to come back for The Dentist 2, right? And when he comes back, I mean, he's killing even more people than ever. And you're just going, yeah, man, I'm so not going to the dentist. So when you have those things and then you hear of some other painful and horrific stories, right? Doesn't help that you hear as you're getting ready to make your way to the dentist that, oh, there was a grown ass woman in her 40s that had left the practice screaming and crying her head off because the dentist had messed up one of her teeth so damn bad. Yeah, this actually happened like as I'm making my way to this practice. Not like that same day, but like that week. So I'm literally going, okay, I'm not liking how this is going. But, I get there and they sit me down in this really nice, comfortable chair. I get this dentist that, he sounds like and he kind of looks like Apu from The Simpsons. And his hello, what is your name? How you doing today? How are you doing today? Okay, I am going to be your dentist. I'm going to be seeing you here. So we're looking at your x-rays. We're looking at your x-rays and it doesn't look good. I didn't say it does not look good. I must admit. You see right here, look at the x-ray. You see right here what's going on with here. You see, no, that's tartar. All of that is tartar. That's bad. That's very bad. It's not good at all as a matter of fact. Very bad. Very bad. So what we are going to do, okay, so I understood that part. What we're going to do, and something about tartar. Okay, very bad. Okay, got that. But like I like literally, his accent was just very, very heavy. Sometimes I'm hard of hearing, but like when I have somebody that's this close to me and they're like literally over my shoulder, like I can definitely hear what you're saying. But in this case, I got the guy right here telling me what all is going on. And my God, bless his heart, but man, I could not understand jack shit from him. I would later learn that that doctor has received a lot of complaints. Now I wasn't even supposed to see him. I was supposed to be seeing somebody else, but unfortunately, somehow I landed in his hands. So luckily, he did not touch my mouth at all, except to inspect what all was going on. So I had the sweetest woman hook me up, Monica. Gotta give her a shout out. My God, she made me feel so much at ease. She came in cracking jokes and everything. I loved it. I loved her. She was awesome. One cool thing, I don't know how it is for a lot of you guys when you get ready to go see your dentist, but practice I was at, nice, comfy ass, reclining type of dentist chair for the patients. And then they have like these, maybe like a 50-inch flat screen TV, and they put on Netflix. Anything that you want to watch, they just put it on. And so I've got Monica saying to me, "Is there anything in particular you want to watch?" I'm like, "Well, I've already binged on Luke Cage, so I'm good with that." No, not really. You can put it on anything you want to put it on. She's like, "Okay, cool." So I think the name of the movie was maybe Trespass or something like that. There was a bunch of kids, young teenage kids, doing flips and shit all over obstacles and shit. It seemed like they were maybe wannabe burglars or whatever. I don't know. Looked very stupid, quite honestly. It really wasn't entertaining. So you fast forward a little bit. Like I said, she does a really good job keeping me calm and everything. So in a nutshell, it turns out, despite all the years that I had spent not going to the dentist, it was actually pretty damn good. So I only had one cavity. How about that? One cavity. And they were like, "Okay, we're going to do what we need to do with your teeth. We're going to give you a cleaning. We're going to get rid of some of this tartar. It's like you're going to notice probably there's going to be a little bit more space in between your teeth as a result of just getting rid of some of this tartar. But, well, it wasn't that much tartar, but it was enough that they were like, you're going to notice a little bit of gaps in some areas. It's going to take you a while to get used to it, but, you're going to be okay, blah, 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 blah." And so they hooked me up, one cavity. So now I got to go back next week and I've got to get a crown filling. Another thing that was established and recommended. Apparently, I never did have my wisdom teeth taken out. So I thought I did. Apparently, I did not. I thought my parents had took care of that. So they were like, "Yeah, we also are recommending that you have your wisdom teeth get pulled." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so just one, right?" Like, "No, no, 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 no. You got four, brother." I'm like, "What?" So, "Yeah, you got four that need to come out." I'm like, "Well, can't I keep them?" They're like, "You can keep them, but it's probably going to give you some problems later on. We're recommending that you get rid of them, especially if you want to get the Invisalign or if you want to get braces." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool." So that's pretty good. I mean, all those years haven't spent, but I trust these guys. I like them. Very fun, warm atmosphere. Aside from Dr. Apu, I actually had enjoyed it up there. And Dr. Apu, all joking aside, with the name calling, he's really not going to last that long. I don't feel. This is the same doctor that actually ended up having that woman I told you about a few seconds ago run out of the practice screaming and hollering because this guy messed her mouth up, right? And then you have just a boatload of other people that don't understand what the hell he's talking about. They don't like not necessarily his demeanor, but just the way he goes about talking to patients. It's not, "Hey, how you doing? How you been?" It's not really warm. It's not really receptive. He doesn't really do a good job in making you feel a little bit loose. So if you're somebody that maybe hasn't been to a dentist in, a couple of years, he's definitely not the one you want to be going to. So what ended up at first kind of feeling like a very scared a scared trip to the dentist ended up actually being pretty good, I must say. But I hear that with regards to the wisdom teeth being taken out, that's not going to be a good experience. And my girl is like, "You may want to get them done one at a time." I'm like, "Why not all four?" "Well, because you got to eat." I'm like, "Well, shit, Slim Fast. So you want them to take out all four?" I'm like, "You might as well get it done in one take." "Sure." It's like, "Well, you'll have your choice of drugs. They can knock you out or whatever if you want. And, they'll slowly bring you back in once they're done." I'm like, "That's nice to know." I was like, "But can't I stay awake?" It's like, I don't like being in ever since I saw some of these videos, I don't know if you guys had saw it, but you got these videos that's floating around. There's one video that stands out in my mind right now. There was this black woman. I can't remember where her practice was, but she basically was operating on people's bodies. Like I want to say she was giving them maybe Botox injections in the butt, or she was doing something to their rear end. And she was taking selfie pics and she was actually recording video footage of her as she's operating on these patients. They're knocked out. All right. You see the straw in their mouth and all that. They're knocked out. They're laying on their stomach, ass just all in the air. Right. And her colleagues, they're dancing to music and all kinds of shit. Oh my God, they're facing so many lawsuits right now because of the way that she conducted herself. It's not even funny. And you've got a lot of people that are saying, well, what's wrong? Like, she's just trying to, make the best out of her shift. She's trying to make her coworkers feel good. She's just, trying to work with what she has and make the best out of it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're recording it and the stuff goes viral, you're actually posting it on your own Facebook, your Twitter, and YouTube pages without that patient's consent, that seems to be the main theme that a lot of people have missed, which is, yeah, that might look cool. That might look like it's not harming anybody, but did these patients sign off on it? Did they give consent? Because if they did not give consent, then this doctor and their practice is in violation. So, hearing all this stuff about, well, we can give you some stuff to knock you out. No, I kind of actually would like to be awake. I hear it's painful as hell. Like, I hear that you may be traumatized so much that when you see what's coming out of your mouth and what all they're doing, you may pass out as a result. I've never been squeamish like that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that was my weird, fun, exciting visit to the dentist. I'm looking forward to the sequel next week. So we'll keep you posted on that one. So we did have the Extreme Rules pay-per-view event that had went down on Sunday. I do appreciate those of you that had checked out that after show. For those of you that had missed Extreme Rules, overall, there really wasn't anything extreme about the event, but it did get, for me, barely a pass. And it's so interesting reading some of the comments that come in on the Epic Sports channel for the simple fact. And look, shout out to Epic Sports. Epic, my amigo, does a really good job. The guy busts their ass listening, not just to my show, other shows, but they bust their ass listening to hours upon hours upon hours of audio content, trying to make a conscious decision of, okay, what would work? What would have people talking? Well, you know what? I think this is good. I have no say in the stuff that's uploaded to the Epic Sports channel. I have no say whatsoever. They pretty much go at their own accord. But one thing that I thought was a little bit hilarious was you had certain portions of that Extreme Rules after show that was taken and used as a clip, and people were just under the impression of, man, you're tasting wrestling. What the hell, man? I thought the pre-show was better than that match. What the hell? And you kind of realize who's paying attention to the content as far as what is actually being said and who is just commenting because they see the title of the video and dislike, and they're basically, I keep telling people over the years, but you know what? People are just going to continue to fall victim. Sadly, it's no different than, oh my God, you want to talk about what the fuck? I remember, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I covered the news about LeBron James, and you guys probably saw it over at Epic Sports. The title of the video was basically LeBron James traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Nowhere when I was talking about the news on LeBron, nowhere did I say that whatsoever. And it was so hilarious because you see that title and I'm already thinking, because I know YouTube, I know the algorithm, I know how to set up videos, tag in, analytics. I know all that stuff. I'm looking at this video and I'm going, oh, this is going to have a shitload of dislikes. Despite the fact that not one time you hear me say LeBron got traded to the Lakers. I knew that's not what happened because I've been following the story closely. But just looking at the headline that Epic had chosen, I'm going, Let's see how many people actually listen to the audio, and let's see how many people don't. And I've never seen so many dislikes in my entire life, and everybody was just shitting on it, saying, "Oh, he didn't get traded. Like, what the fuck is this dude talking about?" It was actually some of the comments I said, and it got so bad, I actually had to comment and say to people, "Hey, really listen to the audio." Not once did I say LeBron James got traded to the Lakers. I'm like, I'm like, if I could have it my way, I would tag it the way it's supposed to be tagged. It's like, you guys got to talk to Epic Sports. And it was probably a rare occasion where Epic Sports had caved in immediately after they saw the backlash as far as the title of the video. And man, it was kind of funny though, because he titled it so specifically. There was no shadow of doubt. This is the news. But sadly, the damage was already done. And that's the point that I'm talking about, man, bringing it back to Extreme Rules. Some things that I had talked about, but sadly, what you hear in just a 3, a 4, a 5-minute clip, sometimes maybe even a 20-minute clip, you don't know what was the basis before in setting up that segment that you're listening to. It's just one of those things that I always kind of kick back. I don't lose sleep over it, but I just find it so funny. You kind of know, basically, who's really paying attention, who's really going out of their way to not just listen to all the clips, but who's just really going out of their way to listen to maybe an entire episode. If they're not checking out all the clips, who's maybe going out of their way to listen to an entire episode and then maybe going on YouTube later and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of curious. What did everybody think of this segment here or that segment there?" Shit like that. But make no mistake about it, just to clarify, were there rough spots with the Extreme Rules pay-per-view event? Fuck yeah, there were a lot of rough areas with that pay-per-view event. Like I said, to basically kick off the Extreme Rules after show, there was a lot of head-scratching WTF moments, and then kind of when you got towards the middle of the card, it was, okay, well, this is kind of pleasant, and then for it to end the way that it had ended. Now, if you guys remember, there was a part of the show where I had said, hey, sadly, I didn't do the research, but man, to see a singles match for the Intercontinental Championship close out the pay-per-view, man, when was the last time this had happened? And some people had gave their own thoughts as far as when they thought it had went down. You could kind of tell who was just saying something just so maybe they could get like a retweet, a favorite, stuff like that. But if you remember how I ended it, I said, hey, you have some people that are saying this, but if you guys want to jump out there and give the right information, go ahead. Nobody gave that information before the stream had ended on Sunday night going into Monday morning. So I actually did a little bit of research, and this was confirmed by multiple people that did the research on their own. Now, with regards to the WWE Intercontinental title main eventing a pay-per-view, yes, without a doubt, first time in 17 years. You have to go as far back as Backlash, April 29th of 2001. Not a singles match. Keep that in mind. Also happened at In Your House 3. You got to go back to September 24th of 1995. The last Intercontinental title match that was a singles, straight up one-on-one. It was SummerSlam 1992, and shout out for those of you that remember the two participants that have fought for that title at SummerSlam 1992. Honestly, if you have the WWE Network Daily Motion or what have you, you can access it. You honestly, all of what I just mentioned, you would honestly, for a really good 3-4 day weekend, that's some good content for you to check out right there. Nice, good brush up on some wrestling history. So, for me, I know some people are a little bit indifferent. Some people look at that Intercontinental title match closing out the pay-per-view and they're just kind of going, I would have settled for AJ Styles versus Rusev. I really wish we could have had that. I really do. But we got the IC. And, let me say it from this standpoint and look at it from this standpoint. Give a lot of credit to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins every single Monday night, he has really been bringing his A game. He really is. He's been taking his game to that next level. And he has just become, over the course of the past 8 months, I would say, he has really become a very likable baby face. There used to be a time I was on this very show. My colleagues, many of you fans out there, just could not stand Seth Rollins, but this new turnaround that he's been able to do, I've now found myself getting to that point where, hey, Seth Rollins is coming out. Okay, I'm actually excited. I'm actually happy to see Seth Rollins come out. And just to see how he's now bouncing off of the crowd, and now seeing how he's in this position where he's a little bit more comfortable on the mic, right? Practice makes perfect, as they say. But in the ring, I've really been enjoying his work. And, for me to see him against Dolph Ziggler, let's be honest, if it was Dolph Ziggler taking on anybody lesser than a Seth Rollins, a Roman Reigns, an AJ Styles, you get the marquee names that I'm mentioning. After you get past that first tier of talent, nobody's going to really care. So, for me to see Seth Rollins in the position where he was fighting Dolph to close out the pay-per-view, I was really happy for both men, but I was more excited due to the fact that, hey, this is the IC title. When you look back at that history of all the people that held on to that title, some of the great rivalries, for me, it just really brought back a lot of old feelings when I was a little kid. And I was happy just from that standpoint that, because this may never happen again. You don't know. It may take another 17 years. God, I hope not. But it may take another 17 years to just have a straight up singles match for the IC title to close out a pay-per-view. So for me, it was awesome seeing that. But yeah, there were definitely in closing a lot of rough spots with that pay-per-view. We all can definitely be in agreement about that. And it's pretty much, okay, let's move on to Raw. Let's move on to SmackDown. Come on, let's move on to SummerSlam. Let's see what the hell's going on here. One interesting thing that had came about from Extreme Rules, and sadly, we didn't really have that much info at the time, and I definitely need to credit my good friends, Anthony Missionary Thomas and Joy Numbers over at Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Anthony, by the way. I don't know how many of you guys are Wrestling Soup fans, but if you are, in case you maybe had missed the news, there was, if my information is correct, I did talk a little bit off and on to Mish. Apparently, there was a passing on his wife's side of the family, and I'm assuming she's not really doing too good and everything. So he's really been trying to do everything in his power to be there for her in her time of need right now. So for those of you that are Soup fans, you guys may want to go on ahead, send some thoughts and condolences his way to his family. I'm sure he definitely would appreciate the love and definitely appreciate the support. But shout out to them because they had broke the news out like hours before Extreme Rules, the pre-show, even had aired, which was, hey, sources are saying the Hulkster is at Extreme Rules. And it turns out, let a couple of days pass, and yes, the Hulkster was in fact there at Extreme Rules, and he met with the entire WWE locker room, staff, personnel, and he basically had apologized for his previous actions, right? I'm sure it went so much more than the whole N word. I'm sure there was a lot of stuff that he had apologized for that has come to surface in recent years. But the icing on the cake, so to speak, was what had went down with that audio footage of him saying the N word and everything. And Mark Henry had recently went on record talking about the whole meeting and really putting over the Hulkster. Remember, Mark Henry, and look, we got to give credit and props where it's due. Mark Henry has been very consistent with regards to his feelings about the Hulkster, really saying he didn't feel the time was right, really kind of having a little bit of a sore spot for the Hulkster, really questioning the Hulkster's motives. Is it really a situation where the Hulkster just wants to try to apologize so he can get back into the company, because that's going to be some pretty good money that's coming in as far as a Legends deal goes, right? Not going to be your standard Legends deal, because after all, he's the Hulkster. His merchandise still sells to this day, right? So if anyone was truly a big critic of the Hulkster, Mark Henry was one of those people, and understandably so, kind of feeling the weight of his people, us blacks, on his shoulders, and really trying to do his best to speak for majority of black people. Now, I'm happy to say, when you go back and you check out previous audio clips of the RCWR show over the years, talking about the Hulkster, especially when the whole sex tape and the audio footage had went down, was always consistent. Never did like some shows and buried the Hulkster under the bus. I was always, and I think at the time when we talked about the Hulkster and the whole N word and everything, I want to say, man, Tammy actually had teamed up and talked about it, because I remember at the time she did want to chime in. She wanted to, yeah, it's coming back to me now. I remember her chiming off because she was a fan of the Hulkster and she wanted to say a little something as well. And I remember, as far as my thoughts back then, it was, everybody makes mistakes, right? None of us are perfect. What's important is how you get back up, dust yourself off, go back out there into the world and walk that path of redemption. It's your next move that everybody is going to be watching, right? And I would, without a shadow of doubt, believe that he was even under a more bigger microscope as a result, right? Because after all, you had the audio recordings that had leaked when his son Nick was in prison, and he said the crap about that poor kid that was involved in that car accident, talking about hey, that kid deserved it. He got what was coming to him. He was a bad. Why would you say some fucked up shit like that? But for me, I always felt that, everybody makes mistakes. Look, some of us aren't redeeming of a first chance opportunity of redemption. Some of us shouldn't even be getting a second chance. Some of us aren't even deserving of a third chance. But you know what? Nobody is fucking perfect. And if they try to tell you that they are perfect, they are a lying sack of shit. That's just the God's the honest truth. Just telling it how it is. Sorry for the F-bombs, but that's just how it is. Okay. So to hear from, of all people, Mark Henry say, hey man, the Hulkster's apology, really sincere. You can really feel the sincerity. You can feel how genuine he was coming off. Apparently, he was doing a lot of crying. There was a lot of sobbing, and he was just really going out of his way to embrace a lot of people. It makes me say, okay, well, you know what? He has been walking this path of redemption and continues to, mind you, continues to. Just because he may be back into the fold with the WWE, it doesn't mean, okay, all right, no, it's got to keep at it, got to keep on going. But it's really nice to see that, and I mean, come on, after all, why not? I mean, you've got a situation where the Hulkster says the N-word, and Lord only knows how many people that are involved in the WWE Hall of Fame currently. Lord only knows how many of them, maybe behind closed doors, said the N-word or call Hispanics something else, and Asians, what, and all that other silly crap, talking about gays and all that, same-sex marriage and interracial dating. Lord only knows some of those people that are currently in the Hall of Fame. Lord only knows what they may have been saying behind closed doors. I'm sure not all of them are peaches and cream, right? And also, you have a Hall of Fame that has murderers, that has rapists. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, if we're going to act one way, this is the point I'm making. If we're going to act one way, in this case, Hulkster and what he put out there, then we need to be consistent with every single body else that's in the Hall of Fame. not just with the WWE, but all the other Hall of Fames where there maybe is a controversial figure that is in the Hall of Fame that maybe should not actually be in the Hall of Fame, right? But I'm happy that from this standpoint, WWE and the Hulkster, they are back in arms with each other again, right? I like that. And I have a feeling that at this point, so a lot sooner rather than later, the Hulkster will be making his return. I just kind of feel as though we're not going to have to wait until WrestleMania season. I don't think we're going to be waiting until 2019. I kind of have the impression that I kind of feel like maybe by Survivor Series, if not a little bit before, maybe by Survivor Series, the Hulkster will return. I think now the question is, how do you properly utilize the Hulkster, right? And I mean, I'm just brainstorming, quite honestly. And for me, I think at this point, it needs to be extremely rare that you have the Hulkster on main WWE programming. For me personally, I think it needs to be extremely rare. I know some people are throwing the idea out there of, well, maybe he should be a SmackDown or a Raw general manager. I don't care to see that. I think that would honestly be a waste of his talents. I think where you have the Hulkster, you need to be bringing in some serious revenue. And I'm sorry, but Hulkster 63 going on 64. No, every single week we're relying on him to maybe try to help spike the ratings per hour. No, I'm not really interested in that. I think no, we would get tired of that after a while. The Hulkster needs to be like, here we go again with another goddamn Halloween candy reference. But no, literally, he needs to be that nice, good piece of Halloween candy that your parents deny you, except for that one time out of the year. Kind of like for me, as I've gotten older, I try to do my best to stay away from sweets. And Lord knows, after what went down at the dentist last week, they scared the bejeebus out of me as far as eating sweets go. So, knock on wood, I am now almost on 7 days of not having any type of sugar, right? So I've always had a sweet tooth. And I've noticed I've had a little bit more energy. I'm noticing I'm not crashing as much when I would have sugar. And then just a couple hours later, I'm going, but for me, my favorite time of the year is my birthday, because on my birthday it's the only time of the year I will eat it. But I love carrot cake. Everybody else, they have their favorite cakes for their birthday. But for me, I love freaking, um, for me, I love freaking carrot cake. Carrot cake is just awesome. I love it. It's delicious. So, for me, I look at the Hulkster and I go, the Hulkster is straight up a delicacy. You got to roll him out in slow doses. You got to treat him like a special treat. And for me personally, if you were to ask me, how would you properly utilize the Hulkster? I would say utilize him by letting him appear on network specials. That's honestly where he should be going. Just picture this for a minute. Just picture this for a minute. How would you like it if for a new WWE network series, how would you like it if you had the immortal Hulk Hogan go on one with guys like Larry Zbyszko? Or how would you like it if, maybe he talked to Bret Hitman Hart or Ric Flair, Ron Simmons, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin. How would you like it if he just talked to like the big headliners, right? And just talked about what it was like selling out at certain arenas, and that, I think that would be kind of like a really cool little mini series, if you will. Lord knows just the decent amount of network content you can do with the Hulkster. There's so much potential that's there, but for me, I would like to see some type of not necessarily a weekly series, but something along those lines where the Hulkster is. And we already know, apparently, Mark Henry did reveal cameras were following the Hulkster around because they're going to be doing a new WWE Network special on him. So I would like to believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that they're definitely going to be talking probably about everything that went down with him and the Gawker case and just everything that had came about. And I wonder when that's going to be coming. That's the only question. How soon are we going to be able to see this? We going to be able to see it this fall, or are we maybe going to have to wait around WrestleMania season? You know what? I'm definitely picturing the Hulkster on a great edition of Table for Three. I think Table for Three. Oh my God. If you ask me like who would be a really good Table for Three, no bullshit. My Table for Three, sadly, the one guy I'm thinking of, he passed, but I think I may have a good suitable replacement for him. But originally, I would have loved it if we're just talking world heavyweight champions. I would have loved it if it would have been the Hulkster, Bruno Sammartino, right? And the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Or you could have had the Hulkster, Bruno Sammartino, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That just would have been badass. But like now you don't have Bruno in there and everything. I'm kind of like, well, who do you kind of maybe slide in there? Do you maybe put Dwayne The Rock Johnson in there? Can you get away with that? Replace Bruno with The Rock? Or do you maybe go with, go in a different direction, But I was always picturing like for a Table for Three, a world heavyweight champion edition, and I have a feeling that WWE is going to try to do something like that at some point, or maybe they're going to do like a Legends edition of Table for Three, which would be pretty freaking awesome. You could almost kind of do like your Mount Rushmore, if you will. Table for Three edition. Shit, at that rate, you may have to bump into Table for Five. You never know. But there's a lot of great stuff that you're going to be able to do with the Hulkster. One thing that also kind of comes to mind right now is, will he be able to get in as DLC for this upcoming WWE game, or is the boat kind of missed a little bit? I mean, everything is already there, like as far as the boa, the tie-dye attire, or if you want to go with the traditionals. I mean, everything is usually already there for you to make the Hulkster, the handlebar, mustache, the hair itself. So, it's already there, but one can't help but wonder if maybe this season 2K is going to go on ahead and make him be available as downloadable content. Honestly, it'd be missed revenue opportunity, but if it's a situation where 2K decides they don't want to go in that direction, then quite honestly, you'll be all right, because Lord knows there are so many goddamn great creators that, my God, the plateau of CAW creators that's out there. I mean, there are some really impressive groups of people that are out there. Sometimes I just gotten to that point. I used to love creating my own characters over the years, but I've just gotten to that point where there are just so many other talented people out there that make really good stuff. I just go, you know what? Let me just go into Marketplace and let me download these guys' stuff. Let me see what they're doing. And they make some really good stuff. My all-time favorites to download, I would have to say, I love when somebody makes a certain CM Punk attire. In particular, the Best in the World attire. I love when somebody goes out of their way to make that. I love when somebody makes the It's Clobbering Time attire for CM Punk. I love the CM Punks where every single tattoo, and it's easy to find CM Punk's tattoos online and all that, because sometimes you can find the game skins and all that. But I just think that whole process of how they're able to just take those skins, the tattoos, the layers and all that, I just think that's pretty badass how folks are able to take all that and put it on their CAW, and it just looks like something that was actually made in the game by the developers themselves. It's just badass. But that's just the point that I've gotten to right now when it comes to creating awesome content like that. So, but yeah, there's plenty of great ideas, marketing ideas you could do with the Hulkster. To have him be wasted showing up on Raw and SmackDown every single week, it would just be quite silly. It would be a waste for me personally. I mean, to each its own. I'd like to know how you guys feel about that, but that's just how I'm feeling. I want to get into a couple of more headlines, but friendly reminder, it's kind of like a Q&A edition. So if you guys ever wanted to pick my brain on something wrestling or non-wrestling related, just post a question in the chat. You can interact a couple of ways: YouTube, Spreaker. You can also send something on Twitter. I got the Twitter. I got the Instagram. I've got the Facebook. I've got all over the place, man. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And, bear with me a second here, guys. My screen just kind of froze for no apparent damn reason. There we go. We're good now. All right, we're good. And I kind of agree with what Gino is saying. Gino is saying Hogan is going to be in WWE 2K20. Don't think he'll be in this year's game. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, like I said, like the content's already there. I mean, the only thing they really got to do, and I'm sure that I don't think the audio is there, like as far as Hulk Hogan. I don't think that's there. I mean, it could be. You never know. It could be there. But sometimes what I've noticed in previous games is certain characters will be locked. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Certain characters will be locked because maybe they weren't able to come to a new agreement with the WWE, and they left right when the body scans and the voiceover work was being done for the next 2K game. And then as a result of that, they go ahead and they lock, that character was like, they already pre-programmed them in there. And now that they got the news that they go back in there and they lock it. So I really would not be that surprised if the Hulkster stuff is in there. And the only thing 2K has to do is just unlock it, right? I don't know. Yeah, I've seen stranger things happen, man. So I don't know. You might be onto something though, bro. You might be onto something. See, let's get into some other headlines. Because I mean, quite honestly, I'm trying to make it a Q&A edition. But if you guys don't have any questions tonight, it's definitely going to be a very short show. I'm letting you know that right now, because not that much has happened since last we were on the air with you guys. So honestly, I have no problem whatsoever if it's going to be a short show tonight, because Fallout 4 is calling me. I'm trying to milk that bad boy for what it's worth before Fallout 76 comes out. So let me get into a couple of other topics here as we're winding on down. Oh, by the way, you know what? I know what we can do before I go any further into the show. We do want to take this time out, and we do want to recognize some of our show sponsors, and we also want to recognize our Patreon members, because without their kind contributions, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. That's the straight up guys to honest truth. So first off, shout out to our good buddy over at Epic Sports. You check out clips of the RCWR show and other great, awesome shows. Gets my seal of approval every day of the week. Head on over to youtube.com/Epic Sporting. Shout out to the following Patreon members: Anthony Missionary Thomas, Wrestling Soup. Shout out to the lovely Courtney Summers. Shout out to Michael Wolf, John Davis, and Joe Raymond Jr. Feel free to sign up for Patreon, because we roll out bonus audio and video content of the RCWR show. We've got our 30 with Lee series. We've got Wrestling with the Topics, hosted by me and the missus. Great content that you get to check out on a week-to-week basis. Matter of fact, you Patreon members, didn't forget you all, was a little bit sidetracked over the weekend, but there is going to be a new 30 with Lee. I will have that roll out to you guys on Patreon this Wednesday night. So you guys definitely piggy on back to Patreon and scoop that up when you guys get a chance. Good stuff. Yeah, $5 a month though. You get access to really great, awesome content. Take advantage. Best part about it, you don't like the content at the end of the month, just let me know. I'll give you a refund. No problems, no questions asked. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Also, this episode of the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by SantraKitchen.com. Santra Kitchen, selling the best unaffordable small kitchen appliances, mugs, and kitchen culinary tools. And the best part, comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can't beat that. 30-day money-back guaranteed. Head on over to SantraKitchen.com. If you need help planning your next vacation destination and you don't have the time to search for the best deals and locations, make sure you give my good friends over at Destination Vacations Travel Agency a call. They can help. Call them at area code 630-491-6864. That's 630-491-6864. We're also brought to you in part by MyLotteryWinningSecrets.com. Learn from a lottery winner that won the jackpot 7 consecutive times with his great tips and methods. And Lord knows, I need some of his tips and some of his methods right now, because I was at the scratch machine last week, spent about $5. I got these. I don't know. I know I said it last week, but I'm still just amazed at it. I was at the lottery ticket machine. I spent about $5. I had got 2 tickets, right? 2 tickets. They were this new game, part of a new game, Old Bay. How many of you guys know about Old Bay seasoning? If you ever been to Roy Rogers, you can still find Old Bay seasoning available to put on your French fries and all that. My personal pick, only when I go to Roy Rogers, I love putting Old Bay seasoning on the French fries and then going over to their mayonnaise pump and getting the little cups. Don't knock it till you try it. If you were like, my God, mayonnaise and the French fries, that has to be the one establishment, Roy Rogers, where you go to the fries, telling you put that Old Bay seasoned salt on it, get you just a couple of cups. You need about 3 cups of their mayo. Oh, God damn. You're going to be in heaven. Let me tell you, you're going to be in heaven. How the hell did we get on Roy Rogers? Oh, Old Bay seasoning. Yeah, so there's this new scratch-off game. It's from Old Bay, apparently, or they've partnered up with Old Bay seasoning. And when you scratch the tickets, the son of a bitches actually smell like Old Bay seasoning. I mean, me and the missus was smelling the tickets for like about 3 minutes going, how did they do this? How did they pull this off? Like, how did they do this? Very interesting stuff right there. Very interesting stuff. Also, one last time, and we definitely want to thank these guys for partnering up with us these past couple of months. It has been a true blast. I'm talking about the guys over at the Midwest Ecom Conference. It is happening July 20th through the 21st in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you guys are looking to become a successful eBay or Amazon seller, if you want to work on building a better income for yourself, trying to provide better for your family, work your own respected hours, be your own boss, right? But you want to be a successful eBayer or Amazon seller. You got to learn the nitty-gritty of e-commerce. You got to learn from the best. That's why I'm recommending, if you're going to be in the Minneapolis, Minnesota area, home of the purple one, Prince, I want for you guys to check out the Midwest Ecom Conference. It is going down July 20th through the 21st. It's a fun 2-day event. For tickets, information, registration, head on over to MidwestEcom.com. For those of you struggling with your credit score, trying to bring that bad boy up to par, check out NoSweatyCredit.biz. They can delete up to 5 negative items on your credit report in as little as 5 business days. I'm not talking about one credit report, right? You guys do know by now in 2018, there are 3 credit reports, right? So make it your business. Hook up with these guys. They can help you out. Make sure that everything on your goddamn credit reports is on the up and up so that you can be on a better path, a better road to financial recovery. And last, the RCWR show is brought to you in part by GetRichAlso.ws. You know, .ws domains, that's on the rise. .coms, info, org, all those are like starting to become like, it's hard real estate out there. It's really hard, right? It's almost like the phone numbers. You know, eventually they added a new number and then that just set off like a whole chain of new stuff. Okay, well, now we got to introduce a new area code. Well, everything's pretty much all used up now. Domains is pretty much operating in that fashion. .ws is where you can get in while the getting is good. So if you are maybe interested in a side business and selling .ws domains, head on over to GetRichAlso.ws. All right, let's continue on with the show. We've got all our sponsors and our Patreon members acknowledged. If you're enjoying the show so far, smash the like button, share, like, retweet, subscribe, all that good stuff. I see the question that's being asked by Be Nice, just curious. When you be on Twitter and live tweeting while watching Raw, I comment on your tweets, but you never interact. Just wanted to know. Be nice, be nice, be nice. I'm literally being nice. Be nice. Be nice. If I responded to every single body that interacted with whatever I say on Twitter, I would not be watching the shows, brother. I would not. For me, it's not so much, and let me break it down to you. For me, when it comes to using a platform like Twitter, or if you're following me on Facebook, the same way I act on Facebook is the same way I act on Twitter. I'll usually post something and it's just like, that's it. And typically when I'm watching something on the TV, it doesn't even just have to be Raw. I mean, sometimes I could be watching live PD. I could be watching a basketball game or something like that. If I have something I want to just put out there, I just put it out there. I don't put it out there in hopes of, oh, somebody will reply to me. Now, there are times where I'll ask a question, and when I ask a question and somebody responds, I'll usually heart it, I'll like it, or I reply back, right? But for me personally, okay, I'm in front of a computer screen mostly while I'm at work. I'm in the marketing field. So a lot of times I'm looking at a screen pretty much all day. By the time I get home, sometimes, depending on what day it is, I'm able to catch up with the family, able to catch up with the missus. And then when it's time for me to unwind a little bit, okay, this show's coming on. Okay, great. I'll watch it, but I care more about watching what's on my TV than what's on my phone. That's why if you kind of notice a lot of times with some of the stuff that I put out there, it's not so much asking a question. And then even if it kind of comes off as a question, sometimes what I'm putting out there is a rhetorical question that I put out there that really doesn't even need to be answered. Understand something, guys. I'm trying to make more of a better effort. Like if I see that someone sends a comment or something my way, first off, unless it's like really, now that's fucking awesome. That's pretty much the only way I will reply. Or if I'm asking a question and somebody replies and then I'll reply back, I'll definitely do that, right? But then if it's not that, otherwise, if you send something my way, I try to make a conscious effort to like or retweet it just to let you know I did see it. I am acknowledging it, but that's about as far as I go. Now, Facebook seems to be a little bit better because on Facebook, God, you go on Facebook, I post all kinds of funny shit these days. Sometimes I'll post some random thoughts on stuff. Usually the way I utilize social media, I just post random thoughts. I know other people, they like to, really, they can multitask. They can watch a show and they can interact with their fan base. I'm almost kind of one-dimensional. I'm one of those types, especially if you see my Twitter history pattern, it's always reactionary. So whenever something is on, I'm usually just first instincts. I'm usually putting something out there. Good example, good segue as far as reactionary. You had that one part on Monday Night Raw where Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks and Bailey. Forgive me, guys. I got Becky Lynch on the brain because I liked what I saw on SmackDown, just some parts tonight. But you had on Monday Night Raw, Sasha Banks and Bailey. You know, they still can't get along with each other. And I laughed my ass off when you had Kurt Angle basically say to Bailey, man, I thought this therapy thing was going to work for you girls. But you know what? I'm not giving up on you girls just yet. I'm going to put you two in a tag match. I'm going to put you two up against Alicia Fox and Dana Brooke because they're just itching to fight you guys, man. They're just itching. And Bailey's like, Kurt, I really don't think this is a good idea. I really just think we need to just let bygones be bygones. And Kurt's like, no. I don't think you understand. If you girls can't get along, then one of you is going to be sent to SmackDown. And just to see the look on Bailey's face, I mean, she was looking so fucking depressed. I'm going, wait a minute. So going over to SmackDown, was that some type of a demotion or something? Because, you know, just to see Bailey's face, I'm going, come on, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. That can be looked at as maybe a good thing. Like, what the hell, man? So I thought that spot was interesting. And then to see the girls, they had the tag team match later on. Sasha Banks, she didn't come out off the break, if I remember it right. She actually came out several minutes later, was handling business when she came to the aid of Bailey, but sadly, there was a count out, right? There was a count out, and then that pretty much was it. But where it was really funny for me was a segment or two afterwards where we see Bailey catch up with Sasha, and Bailey's like, look, you know, what the hell, you know, what's going on? You know, why can't we make things squared away between us or whatever? And Sasha Banks just professes her love to Bailey, you know, saying, don't you get it? Don't you get it by now? You know, I love you. I'm always going to love you. And just the way she walked away was very, very frustrating. You know, it was kind of like she was sitting back on just some type of penned up emotion. And I couldn't help but think Eric Bischoff. All right, so we're going to see a little hot lesbian action. And shout out to those of you, if you remember Stephanie McMahon involved in a hot lesbian action segment. And look, this is not for anybody because I know Epic Sports is probably going to upload this portion of what I'm saying on the channel. But for anybody tries to go, oh, Lee is like ripping off from other shows. You know how many people were on social media fucking Monday night literally saying the same goddamn thing that I was saying? Wasn't that many people, but you had like the group of us that remember hot lesbian action, that remember Eric Bischoff as the Raw general manager at one point. And there was a good vocal amount of us. Go on my Twitter page at the RCWR Show. You can see the timestamp as soon as this segment had aired. The timestamp for my tweet, let's see if I can blow this up. You see it for July the 16th. You see it at, I don't know if that's 9:43 p.m. July 16th, 2018. I think I got to adjust my clock setting here because I'm seeing the tweets timestamp 6:43 p.m. on June the 16th, 2018. And that's not right because at that point, I'm pretty sure we were like well into maybe like around the 9 o'clock hour. Maybe it was 8:43, who knows? But I want to say it was maybe about 9:43. But you can see the timestamp of my tweet. It was definitely on Monday night. And I said, Sasha Banks and Bailey getting ready to kiss or something. All this talk of love. We're going to get a little Hot Lesbian Action got a new name for their alliance, and I basically had said the lesbians. And anybody that remembers the lesbians that came out on Raw, kudos to you. But yeah, I just had a giggle laughing at that. And I'm sure that's probably brought up a couple of interesting questions, which is, hey, all joking aside, is it even possible that WWE is hinting at the idea of a same-sex tag couple or something in Sasha Banks and Bailey? Is it possible that maybe WWE could go in this direction? You know, could we maybe see something like this? What do you think? It would be interesting. It would be very interesting. Lord knows, if it was me, if it was up to me, and they were very comfortable, I would have to make sure if it was me, I was in charge of the booking, I would be talking to both of these girls in a conference, like face to face, and I would be asking them, would you all be comfortable going in this direction? Would you all be comfortable occasionally, you know, maybe kissing each other, you know, not in a hot lesbian action type of way, but would you all be comfortable, like almost like a real couple? Would you all be comfortable with this to push a story arc? And if both of them were on the same table, and they were like, yeah, let's go for it, Lee. I'd be like, okay, well, then this is how we're going to do it. We're not going to treat it slutty. We're not going to treat it tacky. We're going to go about this in a very cool, respectful way. And, you know, contrary to how some people may feel about, no, this isn't going to happen or whatever like that. No, because WWE has a responsibility to their sponsors and all of this other stuff. Damn it, I say even the more reason why you should push this envelope and see how well the fans would adjust to this. For the simple fact, you've got Finn Balor coming out there with his rainbow colors. Balor Club is for everybody, right? It's for everyone, right? And the WWE is constantly reminding us how they have, you know, connections with the LGBTQ, you know, after a while you get all them damn letters mixed up, right? The lesbian, gay, transsexual, query community is all them damn letters, man. It's just like, how many more letters do we need in there? Just seriously. But no, in all seriousness, you know, they like to mention every time how they have that connection and everything, you know, with stuff like that, with the GLAAD organization and everything. So for me, seeing that, and then have you guys seen the latest batch of commercials that's on TV these days? I'll give you one commercial that really jumps out to me right now. I usually see this commercial when I'm watching Investigation Discovery, otherwise known as the Death Channel, or I'm seeing it when I watch, what's the other channel? TV1 or BET. There's these two white women. You don't realize till probably about 15 seconds into it that they are a same-sex couple. And one of the girls says, oh man, I would love to so get married or something like that. And the other girl says to her, well, let's do it. And that's when you kind of realize, oh, hey, it's a same-sex couple, right? And they're like, the other girl's like, really? We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna, but what about our family? What about our friends? And the other girl's like, you don't need to worry about that. Like, come on, let's go. And next thing you know, she like takes her around this corner, and the family and friends, they're all there, and the commercial ends with these two women kissing each other. And I forget what the hell the commercial was promoting. But you're like, wow, that's some pretty powerful and heavy stuff. But more and more within the past 3 years, there has been more same-sex couple commercials. What I just described, you got your banking same-sex couple commercials. I mean, you name it, it's all over. Probably the only thing that hasn't been penetrated yet is a same-sex commercial for fast food, you know? Hey, Bobby. Yeah, hun. Man, this Whopper is so delicious. That's not, that's what about me? I thought I was delicious. I mean, you told me so last night. Of course you are, but I'm talking about the Whopper. I can't digest you, you silly bud. It's I mean, seriously, that's probably the only thing we're missing now is same-sex couples penetrating the fast food. That I'm sure it's going to be a matter of time though before we see something like that happen, right? And to Tony in the chat, man, it can, yeah, uh, LGBTQ, all them damn initials. Yeah, it's query, it's queen, question mark. However you wanna. I just go lesbian, gay, transsexuals. LGT. That's what I've always for years. As far as the gay community, not to sound like AJ Styles, the guy community, but as far as the gay community goes, I've always just been like, okay, lesbians, gays, transsexuals, or transgender. Now we got all these other letters that's in there, man. It's really hard to keep up. It really is. Next time, just do a Bing or Google and maybe you can even do something on YouTube and just type in those letters or whatever. And the amount of people that are in forums going, what the hell does all these letters mean? What the hell, man? Like, why can't we just keep it simple? And it's pretty soon there's going to extend to 7 letters in the damn thing, man. It's going to get to that point. But no, I seriously feel that we're going to eventually get to that point where you're going to see same-sex couple in a fast food commercial. Mark my words, it's going to get to that point. But that whole thing, I had got a brain fart. You guys got to forgive me. It happens. I get sidetracked with some silliness, but getting back on point, no, but just combining all of those things that I just mentioned, I think the timing is perfect right now to maybe explore a story arc like that. Now, if you ask me straight up, if maybe the candidate should be Bailey and Sasha, I say no. I really don't think it should be them. I have to be consistent here because who better to know about what it's like being gay or being a lesbian than someone that actually is walking in those shoes on a day-to-day basis. I think if you're gonna go in that direction from an entertainment standpoint, if you're the WWE, you should go with a superstar that it's already well documented that they are gay. Personally, that's how I feel. I treat this no different. Look at the uproar that had came about with Scarlett Johansson from 2 weeks ago. She was supposed to star as the lead character in what's the name of the movie? What was it? Tug and something. Help me out in the chat. I'm sure you guys probably heard about it, but she was supposed to play a transgendered person or whatever. And you're going, wait, Scarlett Johansson? Say, wait, what? And there was just such a backlash. There was such an uproar that Scarlett had accepted this role. And when you look at the initial comment that she had put out there, it came off very juvenile. It came off like, okay, way to take a massive shit on your fans, Scarlett, because put it to you this way. The initial statement that she put out, Rub and Tug, and that's the name of the upcoming movie. That was the name of it, Rub and Tug. They had got her. And the initial statement that she put out there, you're like, whoa. As a Scarlett Johansson fan, that made me lose a lot of respect for her. I'm going, do you not understand why people were being so vocal? Why they want to see, the gay, the transgender community, why they actually would like to see one of their own in that role, and you're gonna pretend, to be something that you're not. Like what the hell? That's not cool. Come on. Scarlett, it's like you don't know what it's like to be transgendered. You were born 100% female. No, it's no different than somebody, an actor for that matter, being in a movie about the life of someone that's deaf. And it's like, wait a minute, how does that make sense? How are we going to have an actor that speaks and all that and they're going to pretend to be? No, we should like actually go with somebody that knows what it's like to live that life 24/7, that was, perhaps born this way, that can definitely have that connection to, people that suffer, with that disability, right? So for me, as consistent as I am with what had went down with the backlash that Scarlett Johansson received, and eventually she dropped out of that role, I would be just as critical to WWE not attempting by any means. And I don't think they are. I truly believe that this was just a friend thing, but you never know with the WWE. You never know. You never know, because they like to treat their fans, per Stephanie McMahon, like the fans are a focus group. They're trying to see what works and what doesn't work. But for me personally, I don't think you should subject Sasha and Bailey to this storyline. I think you need to go in a direction, as Gino mentioned in the chat, like a Sonya Deville, right? You actually need to go in that respected direction. That's even if she maybe would be comfortable with that. I mean, we know she's out there, but would she be comfortable going into a story arc like that? That's the $1,000,000 question. Yeah. So, but we'll see how it comes about in a couple of weeks. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on and on about that topic, but there was just so many layers to that. I just wanted to go ahead and just bite all into it, and I think we did a good job biting into that. Going back to the Hulkster one more time, I love the funny way on the weekend that the Hulkster news had came about, where the Hulkster has been reinstated by the WWE. He's reinstated in the WWE Hall of Fame. Hulkster is reinstated in the WWE Hall of Fame. And everybody's just, oh, it's about time. It's just, and like, I'm literally going on social media. Wait a minute now. And I've been following this very closely. I have a long history of following the Hulk Hogan news. All right. I'm going, wait a minute. When was the Hulkster ever taken out of the WWE Hall of Fame? When was that? Everybody, including myself, we were just under the assumption that the Hulkster got kicked out of the Hall of Fame somewhat, right? Because we covered it on this show. I remember vividly telling you guys, hey, you go on the WWE.com website, you type in Hulk Hogan, he ain't on there. You go to the alumni section, he ain't there. You go to the Hall of Fame section, he's not there. You go on the WWE network, you type in the Hulkster, you type in Hulk Hogan, he ain't there. It's like the brother don't even exist. I covered that on this show. And so there was never a statement put out there that the Hulkster was taken out of the WWE Hall of Fame. You were kind of led to the impression that because of what went down with the audio and all that, WWE decided, okay, we need to distance ourselves as much as humanly possible from the Hulkster. But it was just so interesting and so gullible. I felt how gullible people were responding to this news. Oh man, yeah, I put it out on all forms of social media, including Facebook. I mean, where I really talk the biggest amount of shit. I talk a lot of shit on Facebook. Go there. We got about almost 3,000 followers and likes on Facebook. So if you got Facebook, you really should be part of our community over there, because we get a lot of good people commenting. So I basically put a post out there. I said, so I see the big talk right now going into Extreme Rules tonight is of Hulk Hogan being reinstated in the WWE Hall of Fame. I followed the Hulkster very closely over the years and not once saw a statement issued by WWE that they removed the Hulkster from the WWE Hall of Fame. They pulled him from the alumni store, Hall of Fame sections on their site and removed his name in a search on the WWE Network, but never issued a statement saying he was removed from the WWE Hall of Fame. Marinate on that for a minute, folks, and see if you can solve the what the fuck with that riddle. And Aaron via Facebook, he summed it up perfectly. He knew exactly where I was going, which was just like you. I never recall any sort of public statement that he was being removed from the Hall of Fame. I think a lot of folks either assume so or just created their own narrative, much like this whole OMG, Hogan is in Cleveland today. That must mean maybe he's in Cleveland. So I just think that the way people were just gushing over this was just downright freaking silly, honestly, when the right type of question should have been asked. For me, and make no mistake about it, I'm happy that the Hulkster and the WWE, they patched things up. They did. And just to show you guys the consistency, and I never wavered on my thoughts on the Hulkster. I remember there was this really cool ass poster, and eventually it's going to hang up. The problem is it's such a big poster. I actually got to go to Michael's to get it specialty. I got to get a specialized frame and glass and all that for it. But for Christmas last year, my girl had, you can see it on the Facebook page in the picture section. My girl had got me this cool kick-ass poster that the Hulkster had signed. Got it from his own store. He's doing the bow and arrow pose. It's vintage Hulkster from the 80s. And he signed it, original ink, not a copy. And I'm like, so I mean, if I didn't, if I felt negatively towards the Hulkster, I definitely would have been like, you need to send that back. No bullshit. If I passionately felt like the way some people feel about the Hulkster and he shouldn't be forgiven, I would have been like, no, you can send that back. I'll just take a gift card, honestly, or you can give me something on the WWE website or whatever. But this brings a more alarming issue with regards to the way this whole Hall of Fame thing comes about and all that. And it led to a very interesting discussion I had with the missus on a car ride, literally the day after Extreme Rules. And we were just talking about just everything that was going on with the Hulkster. And we both just came to the same conclusion, which is, why in the blue hell is there not a physical WWE Hall of Fame yet? You have so many WWE legends that have gone on record. You have professional wrestlers that are not in the WWE Hall of Fame, but they have made their significant contributions to the sport of professional wrestling that has called out the WWE on many years, saying, why is there not a physical WWE Hall of Fame? If you really want to be taken as legit, actually have there be a physical Hall of Fame rather than it existing basically on a website. Like, what the hell? And me and the missus, we could not figure it out for the love of us what's going on with the WWE. But like, I would like to believe, and I mean, it's so simplistic. It's not like they don't have the money. I think what it just comes down to, honestly, from what we were brainstorming, it's just comes down to logistics as far as, okay, location, where you're going to do it. And one of the things, of many things we talked about was, it'd be rather awesome if you could kind of do it like Disney World and Disneyland. You basically got your Disney experiences, one for the East and one for the West. It would be badass if you had a physical WWE Hall of Fame for those that can get to it on the East Coast side, put one on the West. Maybe eventually you put one in the middle, right? But for now, you can just let it be East Coast and West Coast, have it be its own. Pretty much you could see like all the things that you would see, what you see on the West is what you would see at the East, but there would be some exclusives. And for me, I'm just looking over on the East Coast side of things. I think it would be badass if eventually they did something in Florida. I know they've been talking about Florida for the longest. I know somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there a WWE store that had opened up this past WrestleMania weekend? I could have sworn there was like a WWE store that opened up, but I don't remember hearing anything about a physical Hall of Fame, like a display joint. You just go there, you can, see great pictures of everybody that's been inducted. You can see busts, things of that nature. Usually if you want to see really cool stuff like that, you got to wait until WrestleMania access, or you got to wait until SummerSlam access, right? So I'm putting that question out there because I'd like to know before we go off the air. So if somebody want to jump in the chat real quick and let me know, because I'm curious. Like, I know for a fact there was a store that opened in Florida, but what I can't recall is if they finally did open up a physical Hall of Fame, because I remember for about 2 years now they were talking about opening up a physical Hall of Fame, where you can, like, just like how I described it before, but it hasn't happened yet. But, Florida, all the connections that they have down there, yeah, that would work out well. I would love to see it in the New York area. So many fond memories of New York, going up to New York when the WWE restaurant and the store was out there. I used to love going to the store. Never had the opportunity to go to the restaurant because at the time of days that I would go, the restaurant was closed, as I believed it opened like late afternoon going into the evening. But the store was badass. It was kind of like almost, you guys remember the Warner Brothers store? It was almost kind of like on that type of level. You like died and went to heaven when you went to the WWE store. But you could do it maybe in Philly. You could probably get away with it in Jersey. As far as West Coast goes, you got to do it in LA. I think it makes all the sense in the world to go ahead and do it in LA, honestly. But yeah, Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns. Look, man, I was ecstatic for Bobby. I was ecstatic for Bob. Sunday night, I'm going, okay, it seems like WWE wants to go in a different direction. All right. But then when they do that lame shit, and my God, stupid booking 101, I got to call this shit. I'm telling you, when I see something doing right, when I see something's going as planned, everything's on all cylinders, it's on point, I give praise. But when it is just downright stupid, I gotta be on that ass. And the storyline stupidity that WWE had put out there on Monday night, I did not enjoy it whatsoever. So you have Paul Heyman, Kurt Angle, their exchange of words, great little banner back and forth, great little banter. I liked it. But then you have Bobby Lashley come out and say, hey, if anybody's going to be challenging Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam for that Universal title, it's going to be me. And you're going, okay, a fresh lineup. But then you see Seth Rollins come out, and then you see Finn Balor come out, then you see Elias come out, then you had Roman Reigns come out. Everybody and their mama just coming out talking about how they want to do a title shot and all that. And Kurt Angle eventually does a triple threat. He does like 2 sets of triple threat matches. And the winners from these triple threat matches would basically meet up next week to determine who's going to be a number 1 contender. Once again, the story, oh my God, it's just frustrating. The story arc, it's stupid. It's just stupid booking 101, because what happened to Per the Authority and the WWE board saying, Roman Reigns, you get no more opportunities. You've had too many opportunities. We're now going in a different direction. What happened to the idea of just putting out there, sorry, Roman, for as long as Brock Lesnar is the Universal Champion, you've exhausted all of your opportunities. Sorry, we got to go in a different direction. Sorry, right? So that's the first part. I know that's a little bit rehashed, but let's take it a step further. Real time, people. All right. I put out a tweet right after Kurt Angle had ran into Baron Corbin backstage. And I really didn't tweet that much during Raw. So here it is for you guys. Baron Corbin, he goes up, just set it up properly. Baron Corbin, he comes up to Kurt Angle and he goes, Kurt, what the hell were you thinking? You make these triple threat matches to try to see who's going to be a number one contender to face Lesnar at SummerSlam, but like you didn't put me in one of those matches. Why not? And Kurt Angle says to him, because you lost at Extreme Rules. Like, duh. And this is the tweet that I put out. You can go back and you can see. I said, Stupid Booking 101. If Kurt Angle says to Baron Corbin, you don't deserve a shot at the Universal title because you lost at Extreme Rules, then why the hell does Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns get shots? Come on, WWE. My God, man. I just cannot wrap my brain around that. That was just beyond. I would not have had that segment air. I mean, that just further put more insult to the wound that's already there, as far as I was concerned. And I guess WWE now, the fans ain't really paying attention, so we can get away with it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're okay. They'll be all right. I cringed at that. I cringed at that, really, seriously. But it looks as though possibly Roman is going to be, as I put out on social media, it looks like Roman's probably going to be getting that W back from Bob from Extreme Rules Sunday. I hope I'm wrong, because seriously, I'm not interested in another Roman Reigns. I don't think anybody is interested in another Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar matchup. But my fingers are crossed. I'm really, really, really hoping that something goes down different next week. But what I want and what WWE is most likely going to do is two different things. So, see, there was another question that was in the chat here earlier. Let me see if I can get to that real quick. But I hope that answers the question about social media or and all that. I'm not being a dick when it comes to social media, like in particular with Twitter. But like, my God, man, it's like I'm trying to watch the show. I'm not good at the multitasking. I suck at the multitasking. I gotta be just okay. And then if you notice, usually when I say what I say, I usually say what I say during a commercial break. And then I kind of like I'm just chilling until everything comes back on or whatever. But if you say something that I feel is like really, really on point, it's rare that I put a response tweet out there. Tony, SmackDown, it was okay. It was all from the little bit that I saw. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I actually was asleep for half of SmackDown tonight. I came in from work pretty exhausted, and last thing I remember, I was laying in the bed with the missus, and I had a couple of Alfred Hitchcock Presents on the DVR, and we had watched a couple of those, and next thing I know, I wake up, and I missed half of SmackDown. I pretty much woke up like about maybe 9:15. So I kind of remember seeing AJ Styles taking on Cien Almas way too soon, although I appreciate a fresh matchup. Those guys, from the little bit that I remember seeing, it was actually a pretty good matchup. I loved how vicious Randy Orton was on Jeff Hardy. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet I put out there, but I said, God damn it, Randy Orton. Leave Jeff Hardy's onion rings alone. Go get your own damn onion rings. Of course, I'm talking about the onion rings. I mean, when you look at the way these people are now just puncturing the hell out of their ears and they're taking that meaty part out, it looks like fucking onion rings, Just, I'll never understand that type of stuff. I never really will. Never. I couldn't do something like that. I just couldn't. To each its own. If you ask me if I think that's cool, I don't think that's cool. I think it's silly, but I respect people that decide they want to get that type of stuff done to their ears. Me, I've always been a traditional, just have one ear pierced or get both your ears pierced the right way, put a little stud in it or whatever, and just call it a damn day. But getting the whole onion rings, but I like that. I love seeing how vicious Randy Orton was and everything, denying Jeff Hardy another opportunity pretty much at that United States title, so I mean, God damn, the way this is looking right now, and for a second time now, we see Randy did not even attack Shinsuke Nakamura. So you can't help but wonder if it's going to be a triple threat for the United States title, or if it's just going to be Shinsuke, Jeff Hardy 1-on-1. Which that's stupid booking 101 in itself right there. I mean, if you stop and think about it. So let me see if I got this logic straight. So Jeff Hardy gets the whole crap that went down to him at Extreme Rules, right? He gets the low blow by Nakamura. Then he gets kicked in the face. He loses his United States title. Then to throw insult to injury, Randy Orton comes out, hit him in the balls. So rather than Jeff Hardy, storyline wise, go to Paige, whoever, and be like, hey, what the hell's going on with Randy Orton? You saw what he did to me? Look, I got unfinished business with Shinsuke Nakamura, but you know what? First things first, I need to have a one-on-one match with Randy Orton. I'm not going to let him come back and do me like that. Nah. He's not going to do that to me. Bump that. And, honestly, I would have settled for a one-on-one match between Randy and Jeff Hardy. And, I would have settled for something along the lines of maybe Jeff Hardy beating Randy Orton. And then, okay, so, all right, now that that's over and done with, all right, what's next for Jeff Hardy? Well, now that Randy Orton's in the rearview mirror, I'm now going to put my attention on Shinsuke Nakamura. I want to get back my United States title. You go to the following week, they have that match that you just saw tonight, and Randy interferes. Then you could have did what Randy had did. That would have made a lot. It's just ass backwards. I don't know who was booking the show this week, but the logic there, it just seemed really off for me on so many levels. Really wasn't liking that booking. Wasn't smart booking as far as I was concerned. And yes, we've got Ronda Rousey. Right, Ronda Rousey violating the suspension. Yeah, that was a nice little spot, but we see she's going to be getting a title shot against Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. So the way it's looking right now, it's going to be a straight up one-on-one matchup. Go figure. I mean, a lot of us had kind of saw that coming. If not that, maybe it was going to be a triple threat. Nia Jax, Ronda, Bliss for the title. Austin, how do I feel about The Undertaker versus AJ Styles, the Phenom versus the Phenomenal One? My question is, where would that match take place? That would be my first question. If you were to do it as Survivor Series, or if maybe you were to do it as early as SummerSlam, I would be down for that. But if you were to ask me, should that happen at WrestleMania? Excuse me, but I actually don't want to see AJ Styles be fed to The Undertaker. I just don't. I just do not want to see AJ Styles. I'm sure for AJ Styles, that would be so fucking cool. It would be badass to work with such a legendary athlete as The Undertaker, right? Athlete as far as in the ring goes. I mean, but I ask you guys, let me throw that back on you. Would you guys, okay, yeah, it's WrestleMania season, but it would probably be a good matchup at WrestleMania. But would you guys be cool with AJ Styles losing to The Undertaker at WrestleMania? Right? That's the real question. If you want to see that match, okay, but if it were to go down at WrestleMania, would you be content with AJ losing to the Taker? And that's the $1 million question right there. And for me, I just kind of feel like keep those two separate. Let them have a match, but not at WrestleMania. Let them have it at SummerSlam. Let them have it at Survivor Series. Any other pay-per-view. Any other pay-per-view except for WrestleMania, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. It just kind of feels like, I won't say a disservice, because for a lot of people, it's an honor to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, CM Punk, he didn't look at it as an honor, as it was well documented. And shout out to Bruce Pritchard, too, with the Something Else to Wrestle With. They had wrapped up a great first season on the WWE Network. I really hope that WWE, let's really be honest, Vince McMahon, I really hope that Vince McMahon gives the green light for a second season. I felt that that was a great hidden gem of a new series. I mean, basically, these guys, pretty much what they were doing on the podcast, they were bringing to the WWE Network. But I really hope that they get the green light to come on back, because I felt that they did some really great topics. Yeah, I'm looking at something in the chat, and that's why my words got a little tongue twisted there. I felt they really have brought up some really good topics. Now, look, with the season finale, or potentially the series finale, with the whole CM Punk thing, I think a lot of us can admit it was a little bit disappointing, because basically, and you kind of knew the direction they were going to be going with CM Punk, because the title of the episode was Enter CM Punk. So that kind of gave it away that, okay, they're pretty much going to talk about his early days when he first got into the WWE, probably right on up until his exit. And I mean, just briefly for like 3 minutes, they talked about the whole lawsuit, but they didn't really get into, excuse me, the nitty and the gritty of what, you know, you would hear from my show and other shows as far as what all went down with the lawsuit, or not lawsuit, but, you know, lawsuit that was brought against CM Punk and Colt Cabana by that doctor. But, you know, it was disappointing. I would say. I mean, if you were a fan of CM Punk and you wanted to know what was going on with the early days of him being in there, you know, yeah, it was kind of cool, but, you know, you really didn't come away learning anything new. And Austin brings up a very good point. There wasn't anything juicy with what they had talked about with CM Punk. So, I mean, it was a big disappointment. You know, I would say you would do better just grabbing the CM Punk DVD. You would do better, you know, listening to my show and other shows that talked about the whole lawsuit that had came against him and everything, you know. And I get it, man. At the end of the day, you gotta like reel people in, but the way that they were hyping this up, you really led to the impression that they were gonna kind of go all balls out, you know. But for what it was worth, and given the fact that they were able to talk about such, you know, honestly, a interesting topic, you know, as far as, okay, we're gonna tackle CM Punk. You know, I thought they ended it on a good high note, but I do hope that they're going to be able to come back for another season, because it's a real guilty pleasure. That, for me, along with Table for Three, great guilty pleasures. Party Hard. Do I think Alexa Bliss is overrated? She's, you know, and this is the thing, and I'm glad I'm mentioning this, because I think Alexa Bliss, first and foremost, I feel that she is very pretty on the eyes. And I know that we have some people over on Epic Sports, but then some people that check out the show on the downloads and on demand. Some people feel as though I put over women too much for their looks. Let me tell you something. Guys, if you're a heterosexual man, be real with yourselves for a second. Look at the amount of hours that you watch wrestling throughout the week. Now, in my case, I watch Impact Wrestling, I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, I watch Ring of Honor, I watch WWE, I watch NXT, and then whenever there's a pay-per-view that rolls around, I'm watching that as well. So for me personally, you're talking about, like, I'm investing at least about 15, almost 20 hours into wrestling content. You know, after a while, guys, I gotta stay sane. I can't just be, man, those two guys. I need some other stuff to look at, man. Okay. So, it's no different than when you're watching a good football game. You with your friends, you're watching the game, you binge watching on games all day. Why you think the cheerleaders are there? Why you think they pan over to the cheerleaders? To give you something to look at. So, if I compliment somebody on their looks, that's all it is. I'm a little bit more seasoned in age now. Gone are the days of, probably, RCWR show in 2011. Oh, I'd fuck her brains out. I'd introduced her to the D. Gone are those days. Now it's, oh, she's very pretty. Oh, she's gorgeous. With a girl like Alexa Bliss, very easy on the eyes. She seems like she would be really freaking cool to hang out with. She seems like one of those type of cool girls that you can just have on your arm, go to Dave and Buster's and just have some fucking awesome fun. She also seems like one of those type of people that, you could have a couple of drinks with, not necessarily get shit faced. She seems like one of those type of girls. Yeah, you want to go get some drinks, have a good time. She seems like one of those type of people. Maybe also somebody that kind of likes the nightlife, have the top down in the car and, just be driving to another city, 3 a.m, trying to go find a White Castle or something like that. She seems kind of cool like that. So nothing personal against her or anything like that as I set this up properly. I'm sure she's a really cool person. In the ring, I personally feel that she is a decent wrestler. She's a decent wrestler. She's better than Carmella. I will definitely give her that. Because remember, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, they almost kind of came up almost at about the same time. But for me, Alexa Bliss in the ring, mediocre. If I were to go from grade A to F in the ring, I would give her a C plus, almost borderline B minus, but I'm staying firm at a C plus. Her mic work, that's what really gets the best of her, I personally feel, which is, and that's the other thing. When you have Alexa Bliss in the situation where Alexa Bliss is given a really good, strong story arc, and she can really shine as a heel. I feel she does a good job in being a decent heel, but eventually she starts to kind of fizzle out just a little bit. And that's not all entirely her fault. Ultimately, that's on the hands of the people that's writing her stuff. She can only do but so much at her own accord. But for me, Alexa Bliss, she comes off a good, reliable hand. Seems like one of those type of young women. Anything you need for her to do, she does it without any questions asked or whatever. She seems like a team player. She seems like she might be a go-getter. But if we're just going to be talking about strictly in the ring, she comes off mediocre. I feel personally her strong points, just going off of a checklist, I just feel her strong points definitely her size, her looks, those are her pluses. So she gets those check marks. And then her mic work. And she also makes a really good champion as far as, and I've been saying it on the show for many years, she also makes a good champion from the standpoint of the chase is better than the catch. She's just, for me, when it came to Alexa Bliss, she always, to me, came off as, nah, just put the title on her and just build somebody up that can chase after her. Because she's one of those, the chase is better than the catch type of people. So, hope that answers your question. Let's see, what else we got? I'm looking at some more stuff here. No, we staying away from political talk. If you guys want to hear about political talk, That's on Wrestling with the Topics. I've tried to make it be my point to not go too much into the politics on the shows, because Lord knows you're getting that on Facebook and every other social media avenue that's out there. You guys don't need that shit when you come here. At the end of the night, you just want to kick on back and you just want to relax, have a laugh, think about some other shit aside from wrestling. Yeah, yeah. I saw another question that was in the chat earlier here. Let me see if I can actually pull that up. Austin, you were saying something else, I think. I might be wrong, though. Let me see here. No, that looks to be it. I thought there was another question I had saw. You guys, if you want, you can pick my brain a little bit longer. You can ask me one or two more questions before we get ready to wrap it up. I don't mind. So right now, show's probably just a little bit over 2 hours long, so I'm actually kind of okay with that. By the way, on a funny note, I'm ecstatic that Bobby Lashley was back in his traditional trunks on Monday night, because Lord, if you didn't watch Extreme Rules, or maybe you did and you just missed it, just go back, look up that match that he had with Roman Reigns, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He adjusted his attire the entire time he was wrestling Roman Reigns. And for me, it was just irritating as fuck. If you notice, I'm very consistent. Whenever I see a female wrestler that keeps adjusting her stuff, it's no different than there was that one season of Tough Enough where Lita kept, I forget which girl it was, but I think it was the girl that ended up winning Tough Enough, and she ended up getting pregnant or something, and WWE basically canned her ass or something like that. I can't think of her name right now, but I remember Lita and everybody else was grilling into this girl hard. Jericho was all up in her face. Can't picture her name right now. Maybe somebody in the chat can help jog my memory or whatever, because it was ZZ and she had one. But I remember Lita was like grilling into this girl because she kept adjusting her fucking attire or whatever. And I just have a pet peeve for that. It's like, look, you're okay. As long as your junk ain't showing, the goodies, just keep going. Don't worry about it, But he just kept adjusting himself the entire time, and that was just blowing the hell out of me. So it was nice Monday night seeing him back in his traditional shorts, short trunks, basically, where it kind of went down a little bit past his thighs a little bit, because I'm going, oh, good. No readjustments tonight. Favorite era in WWE? You would expect me to maybe say the Attitude Era, but no, not the Attitude Era. I would say favorite era in the WWE, just because it was my first proper introduction to the sport of professional wrestling. I gotta go back to once Vince McMahon had took over the territories, and once Hulkamania was running wild and everything had built up to the first WrestleMania, and then WrestleMania 2, and then 3, basically those first 3 WrestleManias. I would have to say that golden age era in the 80s of the WWE, and how WWE had partnered up with MTV, Rock and Wrestling Connection and everything. That era, because that's what got me into pro wrestling. And here I am all these years later, cool ass hobby I'm able to do, talking about wrestling and other stuff here with you guys every single week. And it's giving me opportunities to take my show on the road, talk to people that honestly I never thought I'd have a chance of talking to, work with people, some of the best minds in this business. Everything is just really cool. But yeah, I would have to say that era of the WWE, the WWF 80s era, that was my personal favorite. The Hulk Hogan's, the Roddy Pipers, the Hacksaw Jim Duggins, Andre the Giants. Those were some of my fondest favorite moments. Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, CM Piper, and freaking Mr. T go at it and everything. Jimmy Snuka. Those were my favorites. Those were my favorites, quite honestly. I love those. I love those. Um good stuff. Very, very good stuff, I personally feel. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, a lot of fond memories though. But you know what? Probably the one that I'm most fond of the most, and why I kind of go back to that era the most, is because I can remember those were the rare times where my dad, who was always working so hard, he worked very hard to provide for me and my mom. And he would work long hours. I mean, he had a really good job. He wore a suit every day, took a briefcase with him to work and everything. But he would work long hours. He would be out the door at 4:30 in the morning, and he wouldn't come back until probably about 7 o'clock at night. And he would be so fucking tired. It wasn't even funny, but he would make time to have a bite to eat, interact with me a little bit and everything, but there really wasn't that much quality time as far as me and him being able to catch up. And for me, the weekends were really what was most cool, because on the weekends, I would typically be able to kick back with him, and we'd have pretty much an all guys morning or whatever. And we'd watch the cartoons, have big bowls of cereal. And I can remember Saturdays around 11 a.m. or noon, sometimes 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd be watching a WWE show or whatever. And I could also remember there were times where we would go over to his mother's house, so my grandmother on his side of the family, and I would see her and I would see my uncle. And some weekends there would just be just us guys, just the three of us, and we would be watching wrestling and all that. So a lot of fond memories there. A lot of fond memories there. See what else we got. See. Stanley Cup. Sadly, I really only began watching hockey this season. I see Party Hard's asking the question about hockey. I only started paying attention to hockey because honestly, I saw how far along the Capitals were going. And so, I don't know about stats and all this. I'm still relatively new. If you were to ask me if I'm going to continue to watch hockey, they did make a decent fan out of me. They really did. So I definitely will go out of my way, and check them out. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know right now. I seriously don't know. I'll see what else. Let's see what else we got. I think that's pretty much it. I think we did pretty good. So where are we at now? Where are we at now on time length? Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's call it a day, because at this point, I want to go on ahead. I want to get the audio up on the downloads and everything. And yeah, so on that note, Patreon members, you'll get your next edition of the RCWR show. That'll come at you guys. I said Patreon members, forgive me. Patreon members, you're going to get another edition of 30 with Lee. I'm a little bit tired, you guys. It's a little bit late now, so fatigue's kind of settling in a little bit. But you're going to get a new 30 with Lee. That'll be up on Patreon Wednesday night. So stay tuned for that. And for you RCWR show listeners, your next edition is going to be coming at you guys on July the 24th, 10 p.m. Eastern, after SmackDown goes off the air. Smash that like button, retweet, share, all that good jazz. One of the many ways you can spread the good word about the content. Subscribe, all that. That's very important. Subscribe so you don't miss out. So those of you waiting for this on the downloads and on demand, give me about, I would say, 25 minutes. Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio will have first dibs. I just got to slide in some intro music and all that, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So until next go round, I am wishing all of you guys to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. And most importantly, may the good news be yours. A very good night and a very good morning.